welcome to my channel. So today I thought I'd walk you through how I store my 3x4 Project Life cards. Now I say 3x4 because of the page layout I've done for 2016. While I do have 4x6 cards, I haven't got the ideal storage for them, but I have got storage for them. So they are in a file cupboard at the moment that's not, it's reachable, but it's not easy. And that's just because of the way I'm doing Project Life this year. So at the moment I'm going to go through how I store my 3x4. My 4x6 is very similar, it's just in another box that's not quite made for it, but it'll do. So this is my nice and organised 3x4 card box. So I have these tubs from IKEA, cheap as chips. I've just labelled it up quite simply, 3x4 cards. And then I have them labelled up according to collection. So we've got Happiness Is, This Is the Life, Everyday Adventure. So they're all from Stampin' Up. Then I've got some Lincraft cards that I picked up in Australia. Simple Stories, Awesome Boy, Little Moments, again that's Stampin' Up. Moments Like These, Playground, Other, and then Studio Calico. So they're all from past Studio Calico kits, which I must admit I don't dip into much at the moment because they're rounded corners. Same with Other. These are random. I can't even remember who they're from. Okay, so that's my neat and tidy box. I then grew out of said neat and tidy box, and I have a second box that still doesn't have a label. It's a shame. And this is currently what it sort of looks like. So we have some Snap cards that I've picked up cheap from TK Maxx, £1.50. Have some Freckle Fawn. All of these I am pretty sure are Elle's Studio, because I've liked to have a few of their kits. Some of them actually are Studio Calico, but the square Studio Calico. So we've got some Elle's Studio, and then I think this moves on to square cornered Studio Calico kits. So they need sorting, and they need sorting. And then we have Life Noted. We have some other Studio Calico. Then we have my card label from Me and My Big Ideas, which I do have up to there. So they are my Me and My Big Ideas ones, of which I do have quite a few. Mainly again from kits from TK Maxx. And then we have my ones that I've created myself. So that's what this box started out at, was created myself. Things got a little bit full in here and shuffled over to here. And yeah, that's the way life goes. So I thought you could join me while I have a little bit of a sort out of my cards. And you can see how I store them and how it's going to work. So firstly, I'm going to remove the Mambi section. I'm going to keep that, of course, as made by myself cards. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move into this box the likes of the Studio Calico cards that are rounded. So I will need to sort out some dividers. In fact, let's do that. So for dividers, I'm just using some A4 card that I got for making the likes of wedding cards and things like that. It's nice and thick, and it's not my expensive card. So let's have a look. How big did we do these? Because I did these donks ago. So I did them as wide as the box rather than as wide as the card, if I remember rightly. So they are 4.5 inches by 3.5 inches is what they are. So let's chop some of these up, and then we'll be able to make sure that everything is still divided and doesn't get muddled up in the organisation process. So let's pop that in there. So we've got Studio Calico in rounded, and then other, there is a little bit of both in other. So what I might do is again split them into two. So that's other, that's rounded. Yeah. To move these simple, I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to move these simple, sorry, not simple stories, Stampin' Up ones back, and I'm actually going to club them together. Excuse me. And then I have some simple stories, and then I have some Lincraft. And then I have these, which were also from another Australian company, and I can't remember the name of them. So maybe they need to stay at the front, because then I can get away with not naming them. So let's cut a couple more of these. Am I going to get away with it that way, or have I cut it wrong? Oh no. 3.5. And 2 more, 4.5. So again, these are 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches. I find there's the 1/2 inch above, so you can see the label, and then there is also the amount to the side, so that if the cards do slide from one side to another, it's still okay. So I'm going to cut up 2 A4 sheets of these, because then I will also have a few left over, so that I won't be lazy and labelling them up. Or that's the plan anyway. So 3.5 by 4.5, and you get 5 out of an A4 sheet. So that's not bad, especially when it's that card that you can get from a site, you know, where you just fill a box. It's one of those. So let's see how many we can now get into this one box. So we've got Mambi. Now I'm also trying to think that I'm not going to get all my square cards in one. So my brain is also slightly working on which I use the most. And at the moment, the Mambi cards I don't use as much. I do really like them. I have used a lot of them, and I love them for these grid ones when you want to do some writing. But at the minute, I've not been using them that much, so I'm going to pop them in there. Then we have what is classed as other. So this has some cards from a Hit Kit Club that I got. It has some shiny extra cards from Stampin' Up, I think. And it even has these little cards that were from Kiki K, and were made for putting on a notice board. They're slightly bigger than 3x4, but they'll be able to be cut down to a pocket. So let's move other to the back. And then we have Elle Studio. And we have Studio Calico. And then we have Snap. Can now come out of here. These again, they're only like £1.50. So just having some of the plain ones I thought was quite good. Bit of bargain, £1.50. Okay. Excuse me while I get to my label maker. So this is still got everything on it from labelling up my ephemera and sorting out my kits. I've been on a big sort out. So we have one that's other. Now in this I have already printed before, and I've printed them all in caps. So they're all in capital letters. So I am going to keep that the same. Was it that size? Ish. So all I do for this is take it off, but on these ones I just line it up just shy of the corner. Nice straight line, job's a good one, and you can see it from the top. So I'm going to get these labelled up, and I'll be back with you when we get some more popped in a box, or I might just speed it super fast. I don't know if I'll get away with it, but I'll try. Okay, so I've got them, all the labels printed out now. Just popping the last one on. And then we have the Pink Fresh can now come out of its packaging. Pink Fresh Studio Life Noted. They can go in. And then we have Freckled Fawn, of which I bought a couple, but they cost a fortune, so I probably won't be buying them again. And there we go. So that is now, well, nearly my 3x4 cards again sorted. So this box I probably won't grab from as much because of the rounded corners, and these cards are planned for an album for my niece and nephew, but this one is probably the one I'll grab too if I'm not using the likes of a 6x6 paper pad, or quite often even when I am using a 6x6 paper pad, I do still grab a couple that have got something on them. So I've got 3 more extra cards which I'll pop in the front so that I'm prepared. I need to do another label, and this one will quite simply be 3 by 4 and then cards. So I'll have both my, change it back to alphabet helps. Gets a bit sticky this, I think, sometimes. That rids me. And that then goes on there. The top bits, if I did them upright, the top wouldn't quite fit unless they were slushed down, and you wouldn't be able to see the labels and stuff. So I found that by putting them that way, it still works perfectly fine for being able to flip through and have a look at what you fancy. It doesn't stop you doing that, and they're ideal, and they look pretty boxes. So let's pop the top on and pop another label on. So again, these are the labels that they come in, and this card inside is actually exactly the same card as what I've just used to create my tabs. And even though it's been upside down and back again, they're all still in the right place. So I hope that's helped you with how to store your 3x4 cards. As I say, my 4x6 are pretty much just in another slightly bigger box. They're not all neatly this way round, they're the other way round, but I've still just done divider cards pretty much the same, and labelled them up. But that is tucked away in a cupboard, and it's not ideal. So, but this is. So if you, like me, tend to scrap more with 3x4 cards and do your project life with that, then this is a great way to store them. And this just sits in my unit on top of 2 of the A4 boxes, one holding my washi tape and one holding plastic bags and storing these grip seal bags and stuff like that. So I don't tend to be in and out of them all the time. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.